Hi, I'm Everett. Welcome back to the shop. In today's video, what we're going to do is putting a reversing switch on the round column mill. So to start with, thanks again to James over at the channel Number 40 Fan, link in the description below. He spotted me for the switch. I wound up having to buy a few more other things to go with this install, and that's fine. He just kind of gave me the swift kick in the butt to get moving on this. When you get these switches, if you're going to do it this way, when you get these rotary style switches, they're a really cool idea and it's neat how they work. What I wound up having to do was having to take this thing apart and retime the little cams inside. I didn't take video of it because I was doing it in my office upstairs in the house. This whole thing comes apart in pieces. You get your back cover, this switch bank, and then up here is where you wind up with your detents. The little cams will slide off the shaft on the inside. I'll put up some still pictures here of when I had it apart. You'll have to fiddle with it to get it to switch in the pattern that you like it. We have 4 separate switches in here, all operating on a common shaft depending on the position of those little cams. The way I set it up, if you look at those little plungers, there we go. As I turn the switch, you see that the first set of plungers goes in and then out, second go in. That's how I set it up. Once I did that, then I could take the diagram on the inside of the electrical box on the motor itself, which has a little description of how to wire it in 220 or 110, and I was able to make a schematic diagram. First thing I wanted to do was figure out what I was going to do for mounting the control switch itself. Now, these PVC conduit boxes I think will work out just nicely for this. Slightly different color of gray, oh well, such is life. It's not like I'm trying to be color coordinated anyway. So what we're going to do is, one of the biggest things is that the switch has to be able to fit in the box. I think that will be just about a perfect fit right there. For the box itself, because there's really no space to mount it on the left-hand side here, I think we'll mount it over here. I'll zip the tabs off of the box here, and I'll just drill some holes in the bottom, drill and tap the casting, and mount it that way through the bottom of the box. What we're going to do then is run the cable or the wiring through and around to the motor, which is back here, to that box. The thing about that box is we need to be able to put a terminal strip in it, and so this box here won't have space for that. So what we're going to do is we'll use that conduit box there in place of the little metal one that's there. I'm probably going overkill by using damp location waterproof boxes. My concern is, again, with swarf and chips and stuff flying all over the place. If I were to use a standard style box with metal box with holes and such in it, I run the risk of getting chips and stuff in there and potential arcing. So that's why I'm going to go with this guy. Now I was already, seriously? Well, I guess I don't need that screw anymore. So that's our line with our 220 from the switch. Now I know it looked like it was sparking, but that was just the flashing of the brass. And 6. Okay, now all the terminals are disconnected. Nicely enough, at least they labeled them with numbers. It's kind of funny how it's a little bit more awkward to work around a camera and try not to dump the camera on the floor. Alright, so this is what we have. Terminal block comes off. Box comes off, and we have a nice little rubber gasket, grommet type thing. So what that means is we need to make a hole in the bottom of that thing, or in the bottom of this box, that size. Question is, what size is it? And also, do I have a hole saw the right size? Oh wow. 1.72, give or take just a few thousand, well, just shy of 1 3/4 Well, let's see what I have. Now today's sketchy setup is brought to you by the fact that I don't do a whole pile of woodwork. Because I don't do a pile of woodwork, it turns out I don't have a 1 3/4 inch hole saw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to trepan this hole out. Here's hoping. Worst case scenario, it'll peel out and I gotta buy a new one. Oh. I suppose before I get too far ahead here, roughly 1 3/4. Huh, I don't know, 1 inch 7/42 close enough? Not bad for eyeballing, especially seeing as that's actually pretty much the size of the rubber grommet. Ha! Wow. Well, I was actually half expecting it to fly out, so I'll take that as a bonus. There you go. I made the hole offset to one side on purpose. I want to leave room for the new terminal strip. So what we're going to have to do is most likely knock one of these corners off of either end for the mounting tabs, and then I'll just use one screw on either end to mount it to the box once the box is mounted in place. I realize it's not the most ideal setup, but it'll still be electrically safe. Everything will be isolated, and yeah, I know it's not technically 100% perfect, but it'll work for the purposes I have here. If you're going to be doing this yourself, you'll probably want a narrower style of terminal block here to fit in the box. This is all they had at the hardware store, so I'm just going to have to make it work. First thing to do is I'm going to cut the corners off. I'll do that off camera. I'll cut the corners off, mark where the holes are in the back of the box here, and then tap them. So each of these strain reliefs need a 3/4 inch hole, and I can't get too close to this front edge because the cover comes over just a little bit. So I need to step it back about, oh, yay far. So if I shoot them for just about there, that'll be about right. Got a block of wood inside here to press on the back wall. So if we're going right about there, call it 900th from the edge. Why not? And then what I'll do is I'll probably put this one right about there and that one down just a little bit so it doesn't interfere with the terminal strip. Well, we're committed now. So that one there, yeah, that'll clear for that one. And then I just need to take the burr out of it. Tell you, after generally working with metal, cutting plastic feels so strange. Here. So that one will go there, this buddy will go over there. That gives us enough room. I just need to take the burr out of the inside and then we can start assembling. So what we'll do is we're going to take, just to start with, we'll mount our box. Lines from the switch box. What I've done is I've also moved the strain relief back, stripped the wires back a little bit and got a little bit more slack in the wiring. I have enough slack on this side that I could get away with that. There. So we have our ground line. Now I realize a licensed electrician or millwright would probably be face palming at me for some of the stuff I'm doing here, but well, this is what I have to work with. There we are. Sweet. Oops, bumped the camera. What we need to do now is add terminals to the ends of these wires, these 4 here. Now, I don't claim to be a licensed electrician. I do this with my own machinery because I'm willing to take the risks because I'm the one using it. And I'm going to make sure it works before I'm done. It is totally up to you to make sure that if you do any mods to your mill or other equipment, that you do your homework and get it to the point where you're satisfied and you feel safe using it. Once I'm done with this, I'll feel completely safe using this mill. So to start with, let's take our black terminal number 1, which is where? Here. Let's hook him up to the back side of this terminal. That one right there. There. And we'll feed him with this guy. Just like it was before on the other terminal block. That was the only connection on that one. Now, the white one, that's going to go to terminal 4. So terminal 4 will fit into there for now. The white one will tighten on the other side. Just like that. If I could get you a better camera angle, I would. It's kind of awkward in here. Okay, that's good. I'm leaving this guy loose because number 4 actually winds up with a friend at some point. It winds up with the red. Yes. In order to mount the switch, what you do is you first take off the knob, then you'll see the faceplate there with the bezel. There are a couple clips, pop the bezel off, and then take the 4 screws out of the corners. I'm going to use the faceplate as a template to mount up where I'm going to put the switch. Just want to make sure I have enough clearance in the back to some of the reinforcing bars and such. Which it looks like I should right there. There we are. That's where we need to drill our holes. Now the screws that came out are, smaller than the 3/16. I'm not going to bother with the drill press for this one. Oh, that's why. Thought that was cutting pretty crappily in plastic. That drill bit was pretty munged. That's better. Yeah. Helps when you're actually cutting your way through versus melting your way through. Then we'll take our step drill a bit again. That center hole just needs to be big enough to pass the shaft. which I think that will be, yep. So yeah, when this thing goes to get mounted in place, top there, come in from the back like so, and mount up with the 4 screws. So let's say right about there. Yeah, let's do there. That pass through? Not yet. Almost. Yep, that'll work. Now, in case you're wondering, I'm making sure I'm going into the T-slot here so I don't mess with the table. There. So basically what I'm going to do is on the casting of the mill, I'm going to line up the holes in the back there, center punch, tap, and to number 1024 like I did before, clean up a little bit here. I'll mount the box and then we'll get into the wiring part. We're now down to wiring the switch. Now we need 4 jumpers and we got the 4 lines coming in. So to start with, we're going to start with the top here with line 5. It's a black, goes to number 1. We'll take the other black, because it's the number 1 as it goes to number 1, but then jumps over to number 5. Come on. Okay, so there we go, it jumps to number 5. So that means that the white one goes to terminal 3. And the white jumper goes between terminals 3 and 7. Again, if you do this to your own mill, make sure you do your homework and know which lines go to where on your motor. So make sure all the contacts are tight. Then we got to wedge this thing in this box. Come on. Yeah. Certainly give you a wedge, that's for sure. There we are. Just want to make sure, as I'm looking in there, I want to make sure that I'm not rubbing any wires against any screw heads. Okay, and that's going standard direction. Woohoo! We got reverse! Alright, well, we have reverse. The only thing is I'm noticing that I'm backwards here. So give me a moment here, I'm going to unplug. We're going to switch the green and the red in the control box, or the motor box. Again, one small mistake, I had the red and the green backward as far as A and B in their phase. I'm going to adjust that on the plan. Anybody who wants my schematic, you'll get the fixed version. So I have number 2, standard rotation. You know, it's clockwise from the top of the quill, if you will, clockwise from up top there. Shut it down, go to 1. We got reverse. So I may not need reverse a huge amount, but I know it's going to be handy at times, especially because I'd like to try power tapping. So that is very cool. Like I say, I saw Harold had reverse on his mill, and it's a Grizzly out of the States down there. These Craftex ones don't come with them. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. So yeah, I'm pretty tickled the mill has reverse now. Thanks again, James. I appreciate the little swift kick in the butt to get it going on this project. Hopefully you all found it interesting. I realize I made one mistake on my schematic. I have to reverse two leads, the A and the B. I'll fix that on this final version before I give it out to anybody. If you want a copy, that's totally cool. You can have it. Just remember, you may have slightly different wiring on your mill. You have to do your own homework. Some of the stuff I've done here may not be up to code in your area. I'm happy with the safety level of what I have here. This is me messing around with my own equipment. If it gives you an idea and you run with it and do your own homework, then more power to you. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all the comments and the thumbs up. I'll see you next time.